Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gaming with Scott. I'm here with Johnny Brown.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, Johnny?
I'm okay. How are you?
You're good. Good. You know what we're going to talk about tonight?
Dice.
Dice. What do you mean? Don't dice.
You know,
It's the greatest thing.
It is. It's the greatest thing, but it's funny how something that's so small with just a few numbers on it can be so problematic.
I have dice bigger than my fist.
Oh.
Like the heavy acrylic.
See, yeah,
six-siders? Yeah, baby. And put them in a sock and put a beat down on somebody. Anyway,
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about dice tonight. We're going to talk about those things that gamers doth most covet. The dice of others. Dice are a wonderful, wonderful thing. They're magnet. You can't play a role playing game without dice.
Yeah, they become your precious.
Right. Okay. Now whether you're playing Marvel like we do and you're rolling a pair of percentiles.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you're playing D&D and you're rolling
D20s.
Right? Okay.
Sorry, guys, I fell on my intro there. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, you could be rolling 3d6 to generate your characters.
Or 3d10s or 2d10 or some kind of
right. Some combinations or that dreaded magic missile.
Right.
1d4 plus 1.
Yeah, right.
Okay, right. You're rolling a whole mess of d4s. And it really looks like you're putting caltrops down like you're a ninja trying to trap a hallway, right? Okay.
It really does.
Okay, whether you're playing Shadowrun and you're just going to roll a bucket full of D6s, okay? I rolled 38 D6s once. Anyway, that was the thing. Because you re-roll sixes, so you got to pull all those over, and then you got to go, these are all the successes, and then you roll them again, and then you roll them again, and then you roll them again. It was magnificent. Anyway, that was Shadowrun. Whether you're a fighter and you're rolling your hit points with that D12, right? So the dice are a thing.
They are
a wonderful thing.
They are.
We're going to talk about dice in general.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about dice in specific.
Yes.
We're going to talk about dice accessories. We're going to talk about dice superstitions.
Yeah.
Because there are superstitions with dice. Because I noticed you've got a tray full of dice here.
Okay, so
which is really, really
the tray of dice belong to Mr. Scott Hall, best friend extraordinaire. And,
excellent. So he just leaves the dice like unguarded this.
Okay, so here's
the
thing.
Can I touch these?
So, I mean, you can, because here's the thing. So those are the general use dice, and so they're in the corn husk.
Okay, because that's what it was like. Does he leave his dice just
like
out?
These are the general use dice,
oh,
and
so other people have touched those. I can't.
Yeah,
use
and
those
the thing about those is like you use those to help randomly generate a character or some attribute or like certain things, like they're general use dice. Now, oddly enough, no one ever uses the general use dice
because you can't. Those are
those
are the dice of the people, finger quotey, and I can't know.
You know what?
The proletariat uses those dice. I can't.
In theory, I would believe that. However, what I found is that whenever we roll up characters. And I use my dice, and I'm like, I go into my little witch's brew bag, and I'm like, and I'm doing the sacrifice and the ritual, and like, D20, working it out. I get shit.
Oh.
But if I roll in and pick up a D20, and it's like, boom, 17, boom, 14, boom, 16, boom, 17, and I'm like, what is this? What is this voodoo?
Well, because I think they're ignored and they want the attention.
They do.
Therefore, they want you to stay.
They are
with
attention
you.
whores, just like a Kardashian. They want it.
Right. So I did not know that was the dice of the proletariat. Because baby, I'm the bourgeoisie. So look it up, Joe. That's a Phineas and Ferb reference. I'm sure everyone will love it. So dice are very specific. Dice are very personal.
They are.
Where did you get your first set of dice?
My first set of dice, believe it or not, I got from my dad, and they weren't meant for gaming. My dad used to shoot dice.
I was gonna just say, were they for craps? Or?
Yeah, my dad used to shoot dice.
Right.
He was one of those, and then
one of those. And then my father was too. He
as
went
in like one of
them
cool cats. Born in 1935. Did some things.
Right.
You could also Google him. I'll tell you more about that later.
All
But
right.
he used to shoot dice when he was a young man. And, I came along and my mom was like, all right, you can put the dice up because, you need to be going nowhere sketchy. And I get a call talking about, my husband's dead, the father of my children. So,
right, that ain't happening.
Really? He's like, okay. So dice became family dice. And I was all of, it was right before he got sick and passed, and I was 15, about to be 16, and I needed dice for something. Some sort of something I was doing. I was like, I need dice. I need to go buy some dice. And
You ain't buying nothing.
He's like, step to my office. All right, and he gives me this little black pouch, and inside of it are these dice. And he said, these dice have won me over 10 grand in like a 15-year period.
Damn.
And he was like, you break these dice out when everything seems like it's lost. And I was like, and it was like one of those, things.
One of those where
I
you
was
give me the
like,
story, you're like, what?
I was like, get the out of here, dude. All right, when all hope is lost, whatever. So fast forward to my first tabletop juncture in my vast long gaming career came late to the game when it came to tabletopping. So I never played D&D before, and I've got my little character and my little wizard, and I'm just rolling for crap. Just can't do nothing. Just D20's failing me. Just everything's failing me, and I'm like. And I happened to have the dice in the bag, and I think I picked all the dice up, and it was just one of the dice bags I had, and I was like, it's there. So for weeks on end, I'm bringing these dice, I've never used them, and finally we get down to a roll, and they're like, all right, like this is crucial. It's either now or never, because we're in the dangerous catacombs with the vicious spider queen. She's now made all of her spawn, and we're all about to die. Everyone's on less than 10 hit points. It's up to the wizard. If not, the game's reset. What's he gonna do? And I'm like, so all right, I'm panic, nauseous, suicide, no problem. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, if I blow it, like I'll blow it, or so I'm like, okay. So SC's like, so what are you gonna do? And I was like, all right, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna roll. And I was like, where's my dice? And the dice that I had, couldn't find it. It had fallen on the floor in the mayhem. Couldn't find it. And so finally I was like, it's okay. Like, I'll just get in my bag and like get another set of dice. I opened the satchel and I was like, oh, I forgot these were down here. So I take them out, shake them up, and I'm like, what's the worst can happen? Throw the dice. And I look. Everyone else looks. Hush falls over the table, and it's like, somehow the one lone magic missile goes into the vicious spider queen's mouth and comes out of some excrement hole in her body and obliterates her insides through the process. It was like, yes! But that was the first set of dice that like I ever truly had that like meant something to me and were special. And so I've used those dice for craps and then one little bit of cash too.
Nice.
I've used them for their intended purpose originally, but I use them to generate characters, particularly when I'm building like NPC characters. And I'm like, oh, I need something like super big, bad, and gnarly. And then like either you can like legit roll up something big, bad, gnarly, or you can just go in and just power set it. So like how you just go in and be like, he's gonna have this, he's gonna have that, he's gonna be this, he's gonna be level this with half level of this and 6 levels of that, and you just go in and throw it together. But yeah, like that was the first set of dice that I got that like actually did the damn thing, and I was like, yeah. And so to this day, like I've had other dice.
Say you still have them?
Yeah, I have other dice, and they've now graduated to where they're in a box. They're still in the original pouch, and then they're inside of a box, and it's a box that has a small skeleton key, and I have the key on my keychain, and I have an extra key that I keep in a specific place. So I don't tell nobody where it's at. So y'all come ransack my house,
You ain't gonna
find that key because I know where it's at. But another one, you got to pry out my dead hands. You just got to.
Nice.
And I'm gonna fight you to death for that one.
Nice.
But yeah, like I will every now and then, like I will, even if I just need a little luck, I don't even use them anymore to just roll in general. Usually I will open it up and just roll them or shake them in both my hands for a little bit of luck, and then put them back. And then usually, for the most part, I feel like I have good rollings usually when I do it. But if I forget to do it, and then like I roll somewhere, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I just need to get a 10. Oh, I got a 2. Womp womp. Like, yeah. So, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little superstition woven in there.
It's
too,
a little bit,
We're going to talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit more too.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
so that's the first set of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
What were your
awesome.
first set? What's the first big one that Scott T got? His vast gaming career.
Well, if you've listened to our podcast, then you know that I started gaming when I was 8, and that my first gaming experience was I talked my father into going to the Walden's Books and buying the red box Dungeons and Dragons, and then the blue box Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And those came with the annoying blue plastic dice and the crayon. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The crayon?
Yeah.
Where you had to crayon in the number.
Yeah.
Right? It was horrible. It was horrible. So that was my very first, and I think I still have 2 of them. I think I have the percentile and either the D4 or the D6. I don't know that I have the rest of them. But I remember, because you couldn't just like color with the crayon.
No, you
couldn't. No, you had to like mash
it in
and
there,
twist
and,
it,
get it down.
get it right. You couldn't get the corners to look sharp because you were smashing wax into a plastic die. So it was horrible. So I think I still have 1 or 2 of those that are left in my stash. Because those were the dice and I used those. I mean, boy, this wasn't like, oh, it's my first set and I'll trade it with rep. No, those were like, we need to use this. This was, a good 10, 15 years of gaming with these dice. And I had others. I have had others that have come and gone. I have had others. My father presented me with a set when I was 13, 14. And they were Hilton, the Flamingo Hilton from Las Vegas. See, I've got 2 aunts and 2 uncles and grandma that used to live in Sin City.
Yes.
So the aunts and the uncles still live out in Las Vegas and are affiliated with the casinos. So they have the ones that they've retired that they will give to employees and stuff like that. And so they sent them out, and so they were literally like casino dice, and that was like holy mary. Like none of my friends had those, so they were really, really cool. And my father, of course, taught me how to shoot craps, and he taught me how to do all of those other things. And when we would game, I would game role playing with my friends. And then on the weekend, my father and I would game.
Oh, yeah.
In that he would lay out the craps, and we'd shoot craps, and he'd teach me about the odds and what to do and how to place combats and all the others and how to place, I need a 66 hopping. I want a 33 hopping. I want a, I want a 54 yo. I want to, just all of the called out place bets, what the odds were, I want an 11-1 yo, and all of things. So we had all of that, and I would keep the casino dice in my bag as well, and there were just these, chunk of ice large as opposed to the little plastic ones that came with the original Dungeons and Dragons in the red box, and there was just all different types and sizes. But my very first was with the Dungeons and Dragons red box in 1980. If that just dates me too horribly, with the crayon, because the dice were blue and the crayon was red.
Oh yeah,
and it was horrible. I mean, they were just aesthetically terrible dice. However, it was my very first set, and if you've ever seen that die with that horrible blue plastic, you will immediately go, "Oh, I know where that's from."
Yep.
Yeah. So, what's the smallest die or the smallest die from amount of sides that you've ever had? I mean, I think we were all gonna 4-sided. Because they make 3-sided dice now.
No, I have. Yeah, I think 3 actually. No,
I've never had a 3-sided.
Yeah, I've had 3.
And technically, a 2-sided die is a coin.
Yeah, like I've had. Yeah, well, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, I've had all of them because I had.
I don't see the point of a 1-sided die. Although, anyway, we don't need to go.
There is a point to that, actually.
Huh?
There is a point.
It's not like a push pin.
That
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a lot of. So this kind of goes a little bit into superstition, but those that throw runes there is lots of fate, and lots of fate go all the way down to 1. So you have 1 and 2 and 3, and they, depending on how you throw them and this, that, and other combination of other things, they foretell whatever. But yeah, so like that is they're a chance die, and also in some very we'll have to save this definitely for a game with Start After Dark, but I will point out that there's also a nefarious motive that some people have been known to use 3, 2, and 1-sided die to determine certain very bad things. Think Two-Face, people. Think, think like that. So yeah, but yeah, the smallest I've ever actually had, I have had dice sets. I think particularly once you got to like 3.0 and moving up in Dungeons and Dragons, you had a lot of percentiles that there was like a 3% or a 2% calculation chance based upon, and so you'd find these dice sets that started to have 2 and 3 sided dice in them.
Oh,
So like but I mean, as far as using them outside of using a 3-sided die, I don't think I've ever used the 2-sided. I have them. I know I got some, but I've just never used them. But like 3 is the smallest increment that I've ever used.
Okay. What's the biggest number of sides you've had?
I use the D100, those super big,
the golf balls.
Yeah, golf ball.
Yeah,
and playing in a game. And the first time I ever used it, again, early in my tabletop career, and something was going on. They were like, "All right," and the dungeon master goes, "I need for you to roll this. I need for you to roll this, and I need for you to." And we're like, "What in the?" It was like a group spell or something. We were trying to do all crazy, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Well, you're gonna need 100-sided die, so I have those on hand. One for you, and one for you, and one for you." And I was like, "This is epic!" Like,
it's a percentile die, right?
I was like,
but you got it all in one.
I was like,
thing
look at this. But that's the big, and especially like when you start to get up there where you have things like magic missile and other pesky spells that like as you go up, you get these bigger
level
percentiles,
30,
and you're like, oh, you've got to roll like 1d4. You need 500 of them for an area effect, and it's like, let me just go ahead and get this one die, and I just roll it once and we see what happens.
Right.
But yeah, like that's the biggest I've ever messed with it. If there's anything bigger, I'm scared.
Yeah, D100, but they were really round.
Yeah.
So it's like you couldn't roll them because they would roll.
They would, and you had
it wasn't
to
like they
be
go
really careful.
and you're done.
And
No,
it was
it'd be like, oh, it's in the other room.
Yeah.
Cat's got it. We're gone. Oh.
Yeah, but like, where's that? What? Okay. Is the cat's paw just on it? Is the cat near? Like, we try to negotiate with the dice. It's like, how it's falling. Is the cat? Okay, so the cat's
because it would go off the table like nothing. I mean, like you had to be it was like a hockey puck.
Just right.
It would just go.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's your favorite die? Like, aesthetically speaking, is it? I mean, it could be the 6-sided die. I don't know what most people, but which one? Like, this is just groovy. This is just cool. Like, this is if you had to go through a lot of people, because in a lot of role playing games, you see the stock imagery for die is the 20-sided.
Yeah.
Okay, the D20s, but is that your favorite? Like, if you had to go, like, this is what when I look at gaming dice, like, oh, there it is. This is what it is.
Yeah, I think it is the D20, but only because that is the image that's constantly permeated into the lexicon. It's like when you see like T-shirts, when you see gaming bags, when you go to conventions, when you go, you're looking at gaming channels, or you're looking at
the dodecahedron.
Yeah, you always see that 20-sided die like that. That it resonates. Like even people that don't game are like, oh, 20-sided die. Like, yeah, like, oh, that's some gaming stuff right there. That's a 20-sided die. And like it's that image that's burned into the it's iconography basically.
It is
what it is. And so because of that, like that, I think that's the first thing that I'm like, oh yeah. But I think the most alluring and sexy one for me is the 4-sided die.
Yeah.
Because it's small, and the percentage is. A 4 has never mattered so much in your life.
Right.
Like a 4 has
just once
never
daddy needs a
mattered.
freaking 4.
You just need a 4,
Yeah.
I mean, and if you get the 3, depending on the situation, you may work with, but really you need the 4.
Well, and the 4 is always, you're right. Never has a 4 mattered so much as when you're rolling a 4-sided die.
Never.
And it's not like, well, okay, roll 1d6 and ignore a 5 and a 6. The 4 still isn't as good as when you roll a 4-sided die and you get a 4.
You get a 4. And it's like,
baby.
But yeah, so the iconography, the aesthetics of it would be, just the 20 side, because that's ingrained.
That's the
mythology. But when it comes down, the man, the myth, the legend, the thing for me that is the legend, that if I was to be transported into a gaming universe and they were like, you have to quest first to get all the pieces so that you could probably navigate, and one of them is a dice, like the one that I would be the most, that I feel that I have to walk through hell and a half acre for, that would be Lord of the Rings type, it's like, my precious, would be the 4-sided die. It's like trapped in this like this gray fire that like I can't just reach through it unless I have the pierced heart. Like that's the one for me. That's the legend.
Nice. Mine is the 8-sided die.
Okay.
I don't know. I do kind of know why.
Is it because of the shape? Is it because
Yeah.
the shape is sexy?
Yeah.
Because it's sexy. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
it
an
is.
octagon. I mean, let's
Right?
be real. Let's say, all right.
And it's the triangles on the triangles, and it's like 2 4-sided stuck
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's only they're turned, and it stacks well.
It does.
So dice stacking is a thing, right? You know, dice stacking is a thing, right? No, we're
looking at Devin,
we got the
our video
video guy over
Yeah.
there, and,
He's
and I
just
said
like,
dice
no.
stack is a thing.
He's in the
right?
background. He's like, no, I don't know.
No. So the goal is to stack the dice one on top of another as high as you can go. Okay, and we've all seen
done
this.
it.
We've all seen. I was going to say seen it. You admitted it. We've all done it.
We've
okay?
done it.
We've all done it. 8-sided dice, solid.
Yeah.
I mean, solid. You could stack 8. If you had just had an 8-sided die, you could stack forever.
Yeah,
It's not going
you
to fall
really
over. Okay. Problem is when you get, because you put your 4-sided die on top because you can't stack on top of it. Okay. So that's always the top of the tower. And then everything else is, well, the D20 kind of roll, and the D12 is pretty solid. And the D6 is good, but then the D8 is, I think the D8 is solid. The D10s, the D20s, they don't have enough. They wiggle too much, and that's the problem.
With the D20s, it's kind of like Jenga. You have to position them just right.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Like if you had
the
to stack
Tower
with
of Babel
only
will fall.
D20,
Yeah.
you're
It's a wrap.
You're not going to happen. You get 2, maybe 3, and then you're like, oh crap, this shit's hard.
Yep.
D8s, I don't know why. I got a pair of amber colored see-through dice early on, and the D8 was just shiny in a way that none of the rest of them were, and I don't know why. And I always remember that specific die. So that's like a thing for me.
I'm a
So
sucker for some pretty dice.
It's a D8. Right? Pretty dice are like pretty dice. So let's talk about pretty dice.
Yes.
Okay. So our friend, Mr. Josh Jackson,
Yes.
bought himself the woolly mammoth die.
Yes.
They had a tusk of 10,000-year-old woolly mammoth certified from a dig, and they cut 20-sided die out of it, and they did a full run of them, and they've got the certificate, and they sent it to him, and it was outrageously expensive.
Oh yes.
And it was, I rolled it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I admitted it. Now, would you, and by the way, by extravagant, we mean hundreds of dollars. Like not just, well, it was $99.95. No, it was. Would you extravagantly, is that the type of dice? Like, would you?
I mean, yeah, because like
Are you into that level of dice?
well, yeah. I mean, I'm into that level of gaming. I mean, you're looking at the guy that once spent, several $100s on a costume for a LARP that he was literally going to wear for 2 hours. So yeah.
Good point.
I mean, I have.
We're kind of crazy that way.
Yeah,
huh?
right. I mean, I have. I've been blessed enough that I've been gifted a lot of the really pretty super extravagant. The most I've ever
Nice.
spent on dice is $100.
Nice.
And they're my gold ones, but like there's some pearl dice that I have that they pretty penny.
Nice.
I ain't gonna give how many zeros, but some zeros that a friend bought for me as a birthday gift.
Oh, that's cool.
I had someone I was dating, and they bought me a pair of jewel encrusted dice.
Ooh.
That set them back a pretty penny.
Because there are places like Norse Foundry and a couple of other artisans that do the artisans dice. There are some artisans was at Gen Con, and they did the first set of anodized aluminum
Yeah.
that a friend of mine who is a machinist had to have a set, bought the set, took them to work, put them on the calipers, and he said they were proper, that they were tight. And I was like, okay, because you get folks that do machinists work who aren't machinists, who are gamers instead, and they go, and he was like, no, these are stand up
legit.
proper, and it was just like, oh, well, that's kind of good. I mean,
Yeah,
that
like
makes me more than happy.
Yeah, I've been in some gaming situations that I had a guy was like, oh yeah, like showing us a dice collection, because one of the things inevitably as a gamer you end up there's some sort of facet you're going to collect. So whether it's dice or like miniatures or whatever, like it's gonna happen. And he's a dice collector, and he had like pretty quite a few that I have. So he had gold and silver and like just all, pearl, all these different ones. And he's like,
yeah.
in this one, I keep in my wall safe. And I was like, oh,
What
and
is
he's
this?
he's like, gentlemen, can you be so kind and give a little privacy? And so we turned around and he opened the wall safe and he's like, all right. And so he pulls out this box and he had a pair of emerald and pink diamond dice. And I was like,
what?
I was like, who in the, how? And I was like, where did the,
Yeah. What?
and he's like, yeah, he's like, I was in Europe and, I went to the jewelry store and he went to, Harry Winston and was like, I want to have some dice made, and he was going to be there for the summer. And so they went back and forth and they drew and all this stuff. And and he paid 10 G's for these dice.
Holy cow.
And I was like, look, player, I don't have 10 G dice.
Right?
I don't know that I will ever have 10 G dice. Because now that's just getting ridiculous, ludicrous. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. If you showed up to my D&D game with some dice like that,
You're in.
I'd be jocking hardcore. I'd be all about it.
Right.
But I was like, someone give me 10 grand dice? Oh yeah. Drop 10 grand? And I foolishly dropped, in my personal opinion, I foolishly dropped 100 once and I was good. I was like, I was like 100. All right, we're good. We're good. We can't go past 100 because then we start to getting ridiculous. But
well, and that's the thing is the artisan dice. They've just come out with an amber, like where they're cutting them out of amber, and they're like $200 each.
Yeah,
which is fine until you want to go. Well, there's a 4-sided, a 6-sided, a 10-sided, the other percentile.
Yeah.
There's the 8-sided, there's the 20-sided, and there's the 12-sided. Well, that's 7 times 2 is $1,400
for dice.
My
Yeah. And I find rare and unique and jeweled and especially dice like that very few people will have full sets of the same one, but they'll pick like their favorite percentile or type of dice out of different
and then
ones
get one or two, and
create these really cool sets. But like, I was floored. I was like, that's emerald, like those are emerald dice and like those are pink diamond. Like, and like the other guys couldn't understand like why he had these in the safe at first, and I was like, because he opened it up and like I get like, I don't know, it's the queen in me, it's that royalty. I like shiny pretty things, and like I get, because I was like, and they were like, what? And I was like, that's I'm like, that's
emerald.
Pink, that's pink diamond. And they were like, well, what's I'm like, pink diamond. And this was back when like, pink diamond and chocolate diamond were kind of, I mean, they're still super rare, but they're not as rare as they first were.
Right.
So it was like to actually see one up close outside of extemporaneous means, i.e. through a magazine, television, so on and so forth. I was like,
right, and then made it into a die.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, and those are emerald, and then but the other sexiest ones that I've ever seen beside those are, and I told this person, I was like, not only would I sleep with you for these dice, but I would actually make myself enjoy it. I would. I'd be like, we're doing this for the cause. Yes. They have a set of jade dice, and I love jade. Jade is a stone that I love jade. Like first of all, I'm obsessed with green. I love the color green, particularly like darkers, like hunters, things like that.
Right.
And so like when he was like, oh yeah, I got these jade dice when I was in Thailand, and I was like, because he was in Thailand, so that's boss legit jade.
Right.
And I was like, man, it was kind of like the lady in the back. May I touch the hem of your robe? Can I touch the bag of your dice, your jade dice?
Yeah.
And perhaps maybe some of your luck will rub off on me.
Right.
Like I was like, oh my god, like jade, and beautiful, and just the craft, the quality, the beauty, the craftsmanship, the weight, like you could. Compared to my pearl dice ain't shit. Like it was like you could feel the weight of every number on there. You was like, this is a 8-sided die. I feel every single number from 1 to 8. Yes,
that's awesome.
Like beautiful, but like, oh my god, like I'm a sucker for the really pretty shiny die, and that's usually what gets me at Gen Con. That, and then the dice that are very very scientific, where they're like, okay, so this is how we cut the dice in this particular manner to get it to roll this particular way, so that on every angle you're, the odds of you getting an 8 is going to be this, or I'm like, and if they're pretty on top. So
yeah. So all right, so we've bought our best set of dice.
We have.
Okay, we've got 2.
We've got them.
Just 2 sets because we had to. Do you just put them in your pocket and walk around with them? I mean, you got to go to your buddy's house for the gaming session,
No,
right?
no. I mean, I have.
What do you put your dice in?
I have dice bags.
You have a dice bag?
I mean, everyone's different. I have different types of dice bags for different.
I disagree with you.
Different.
I disagree with you completely.
Oh, yeah.
I disagree with you 100%. Because there is, I think, one universal dice bag that I think everyone has either had or had their buddy have.
Well, okay.
That just showed up to the table. What am I talking about?
Okay, well.
That purple bag?
That purple bag, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
all right. Go ahead and say it.
Okay, so look, you out there, those of you that game, you're aware of this. Those of you that are new, okay, let me break this down.
You know what
for
the purple bag is?
There is.
He doesn't know what the purple bag is. All right, let's tell for the listeners at home that might be new.
It's this.
Oh, let's not cast aspersions. The purple bag.
I won't say
the purple bag was amazing when I got it. Mine was brand new.
Yeah, if you get it brand new, it is. Like I had a hand-me-down one, but like it's the purple drawstring,
Because there's a beverage.
Yeah, it's everyone's had one. You can get it. Little Crown, but yeah,
little Crown Royal bag.
But
the little purple Crown Royal bag.
Right, but here's the thing about
that's the dice bag.
Right,
baby.
but here's the thing about that. I have that bag, but I use it for.
You do have that bag.
I do have
you?
that bag.
I
but
do too.
But I use it for like general dice. Like I don't. It's
I'm-
really like all my general dice go in there. Now I will say this much. I also have, because I'm a little bougie like that for real, a little uppity. The specialty Crown bottles that come out where they have the specialty royal, extra royal purple bags. Now those are where my sexy super. I'm about to jack some stuff up on the table dice go. And usually there is a small box that houses said dice that are inside that bag. And people, they're like, because it'll sit on the table. They're like, oh, and then they pick it up and they're like, this is light as hell. Like, you ain't got none. And I'm like, no.
That one right there. Dice that matter.
That one right there. That's the one that like, I'm like, bring me the dice. And all of a sudden, like, one of my little friends is under 5'2", comes rolling in and,
cherubs
like
and angels.
You just hear the music.
Gregorian
like,
chanting, and you're like, what the hell is? The dice are coming.
Yeah, you're like, oh, the dice, it's happening. It's about to go down. And I'm like, a lot of people do have it. And I think probably just particularly, it's the first. For me anyway, once you get into gaming and once you get to be an adult and once you get to be of legal drinking age, depending on where you at, usually that's one of the first beverages that you get involved with that has some sort of cool little nifty thing that you can like put your shit in.
Right.
And so like it happens. And for me, like I said, I came to tabletop late and I had dice and stuff, but it was for like board games or like card games that had dice or this, that, and the other. So it wasn't for D&D. And like literally like I didn't have a dice bag and my friends were like, oh, well, like all my dice were in these cute little plastic generic, that are clear with the black top that you find at the gaming store, right?
Right. The little Chessex. Chessex was the first group that got me those.
Yes, little Chessex sets. So I had like a whole bunch of those. And finally I went to a friend's house and we were finishing up a game and he's like, man, take this. And I was like, your Crown bag? And he's like, yeah. He's like, respectable gamers keep their dice in that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, like it was like the first. So I was like, I felt like I was like, Corleone himself rolling around, like I was like, boss legit. But yeah, like you're right, like that's the first. Usually I find that eventually somewhere down a gamer's line they will have, if they don't carry it themselves, they will have bared witness to
one or more of their
people
friends
carrying their dice all in that Crown bag. And it's legit. That's how, and sometimes honestly that's how some shit's about to get real,
right?
Everyone's got their cute little chess eggs, they got their little their dice lab, and they got all their little boxes and shoots, and then all of a sudden you like, oh, you want to? So a little imp? Did I? Okay, that's
so
fine.
I need to pull out this.
Boom,
bag.
and then you throw it on the table, and it's like,
oh, okay,
the Crown bag. Yup, sure did. About to go hood, about to blow this, set it off. But yeah,
okay. So now that we've gotten the obligatory Crown Royal bag out of the way, because you have to talk, but you talk about dice. Now you've seen that.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the pretty things that I carry them in.
So now there are leather bags. There's
leather
felt
bags. There's a myriad of different cloth ones. One of my favorite bags I still have to this day. My friend, shout out to Tina Thompson. I forget what your last name is now that you're married, girl. we were in this campaign together, and she, for everybody that year for Christmas, made dice bags for us.
Oh, that's
and it is, it has been through the fire, through the rains. Like, it doesn't draw up very well anymore because the bag ripped on the side. I just pin it together with micro bobby pins. Like, this is it. And like, to this day, like, when people go, what's your ultimate favorite carrying? It's that one. I think probably because like, it just came from a place of like gamer love. And she was just like, hey, like,
that's cool.
like, we're all in our early 20s at the time, so everyone's broke,
Yeah.
like, we broke as jokes. So she's like, I couldn't really do like big Christmas gifts, but I thought I'd make a bag for everybody. And like, like it, like it's the shit. And like, I still keep dice in it. And the particular dice I keep in it are certain color sets that I have collected throughout the years that I don't roll with them very much, but I always keep them. They're like the dice that I got from my dad. They're always on my person, and they're in a space that like means something to me. But yeah, I got like felt bags. Then let's talk about how I knew I had a real dice problem when the very first time I ever went to Gen Con, and it was during the year that they had the Star Wars celebration. And so it was the first year that like the con was here. So it was like, oh, like Gen Con was that gamer.
Yeah.
It was the gamer thing where like I always wanted to go to, but was broke, couldn't go to Milwaukee and other places. And that was back when they had like, Gen Con SoCal, and they had it like overseas, and like they had all the
4 different.
They had like 99
cons,
and I was like, I was like, Ariel, I wanted to be where the gamers were, like that just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And so when it got here, like I got geeked and excited. And I remember I walked in and, it's overwhelming. There's so much, it's even more massive now. But at the time, at the spot that it was in the convention center, it was overwhelming. And I remember I got my little free dice, and my friend that I was with, we was walking through, and he's like, oh, I want to see if there's this one vendor because they make boxes for dice. And I was like, man, get the hell out of here with these boxes.
The dice vault.
Yeah, I'm like, where do you get the hell out of here? Like, what are you talking about? We got up to the table, and the guy was like, oh, and I'm like, oh, these are pretty, they're handcraft. And I'm looking at him, and he's like, have you ever seen one of these? And I was like, no, what is it? And he was like, it's a dice fold. And I was like, but it's not just an ordinary dice fold. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah. He sets the vault down, and there's this little slide chute at the top. And he sets I think it was like a 10-sided die. Might have been I don't remember. We'll go with 10. He sets the 10-sided die in there, and it rolls down. And you just hear this slight click, click. And then he takes the lid off, and it has dropped down and then rolled over into a spot specifically for that dice.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, they got my man mesmerized. Like, the first, I went in with a budget, like, I'm only going to spend, X, $80.
Nice.
Out the gate. We've only been in. We're 10 minutes in.
Right. We I want to go play with this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is
like, does it come with the dice? No.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't. I was like, I don't care. Yeah. And I was like, does it come with dice? He's like, no. And I was like, I don't care. I was like, how much is it? And he was like, it's $80. And I was like, it's perfect. It was like, it was so much. But yeah, like you get all these cool and sundry things, and now I got so much, it's all packed away for the most part. But
and I was
still
looking,
buy more.
Yeah, and I was looking the other day, and so the dice vaults that I was looking at, it has a slide off top.
Yes.
Okay, and it's about the size of a cigar box.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of us that remember those things, I'm getting a blank look again.
Yeah. Devin's like, I don't know.
Felt lined, so that you can roll, and it'll all sit flat, but it won't make a bunch of noise. It's not going to rattle. The lid you slid off that locked into place, you can stand it up and set it inside, and it'll be like a screen where you can then roll if you don't want everyone to see, and you only want you and the GM to see.
So I'm about to go and Google this later. When we get off and order
we
one.
will put a link in the show notes for this particular dice vault.
I'm like, I'm gonna need this vault.
You can get it in regular handcrafted wood. They've got like the exotic woods that are all stained these things. Then you can get them anodized, metallicized, or rainbow like stained. Then you can get aluminum cutout.
I can't.
For the top.
I can't.
Brass cutout for the top, or a mix of the two to make a You can get your own laser cut symbol thing. They've got a whole store of them, or they do custom images. And I was like, well, the Gaming with Scott logo could. I have to stop now because I was just like,
Yeah, I'm like,
oh crap! I don't need a die. But we will put a link in the. Show
what
notes.
I'm treating myself to my birthday.
Right. Oh, by the way, I also have a link on Amazon where you can buy the Crown Royal bags without having to buy them Crown Royal. I bought one for each of my kids. They were brand new bags too. I'm not kidding you.
That is amazing because was. I mean, granted, it was enjoyable, but then also it was sometimes a hassle because it's like,
I gotta go get a bottle of Crown Royal.
like, I don't even
Who's gonna drink an entire bottle of Crown Royal? I guess I will.
Well,
I got homework tonight.
yeah.
Like, oh, you shouldn't have to put yourself through that
Yeah. For a bag.
for a bag. Yeah, there it is. So, all right. So we put our stuff in our bag, right? And we got our dice vault, and we've got
do.
our bags.
We do.
And then we go over to a friend's house, and
yeah.
we play the game, whatever the game is.
Whatever it is.
Superstitions? Because you don't just get your dice out and throw them onto the table, and whatever they land on, right? I mean, you don't. Do you organize them?
I do not.
Do you train your dice?
I do.
I mean, do you put your D20 on 20?
No, I do not.
No.
What I do is I do the blind rolls. So what I do is I take the dice and I shake the bag up, and then I literally just drop the bag on the table, and then they'll all roll, and then I start to pick up multiple dice and just roll them and just start randomly picking them and rolling them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to burn off bad juju.
That's not to see who's rolling the highest tonight.
It's also right. It's also to see like, this die isn't working out as well because I keep seeing it pop on the lower end. We're just gonna drop that one and replace it with this one. And so then I kind of will build the dice that I'm going to use for that evening.
Oh, you build a set of these are the good ones.
Yeah,
we're using these tonight.
And then I also have other dice where they are compartmentalized. They're in special cases and things, and I break them out for different reasons for different things.
So you do have superstition for your dice.
I do. Like, I think everyone does to some sort of extent.
Everyone does. Because it's random. Because it's random. It's completely random. No, it's not.
No, and I know people, I was telling Scott this before we started recording. I know a guy that, every time he gets a new pair of dice, he will take them to his priest and have them blessed. Like, it's a ritual. It's a thing. And then he has a particular priest that bless for a particular game. And then, he has several different priests on deck. And I'm like, they're blessing dice. Like, this is where it's at, people. But, yeah. And, I mean, that's why I don't talk too much mad cash about people and their superstitions with their dice. Because I was like, so really, you got dice priests? And he's like, yeah.
He said without missing a beat, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I do. He's like, they go in.
Yeah.
He's like, and this particular priest bless this particular dice from this particular place. They bless this particular book. He has gaming priests that I mean, I was like, okay, what really got me was he like, yeah, I have all my consoles blessed. He's like, that's the one time that they all come to the house and bless my new consoles. And he's like, because he games for money. So he's, he's into it. So it's like, he's no joke. And I'm like, I don't need no one to bless my stuff, but I do have the Omega level dice.
Nice.
those dice. It's just like.
So Rico, who's on our Marvel game, believes that you can train your dice by putting them on the number that you want them to roll, and the molecules will settle. As they move, they will settle on that position, so it will more likely roll that number.
So getting a 20 by osmosis is where we're at.
All I'm saying is we have
that conversation.
We have
later.
a 2.5 minute podcast on how to train your dice. I'm just saying you can go back and find that.
I will have to. Mr. Rico and I might have to have a conversation. Be like, so train dice. All right, let's get this training.
Josh was funny because he was like, you train inanimate objects? He says, yes, I do. And I went, okay. And it was on the cover. The podcast wrote itself.
Yep.
So there are those out there that believe that, once you can train an object that it has a natural state in which it typically rests. And when you roll it, it rolls towards that particular state.
I guess now that I think.
There's that.
Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, I guess whenever I guess in a way I do training and it's just different. Instead of letting the dice sit and the molecules on the number and all that, I'm literally, because that's what I'm doing if I think about it, because I'm literally dumping the whole bag out, looking to see where the dice fall, and then picking them up and rolling them to see how many times they're rolling crappy numbers versus good numbers. And then if they're rolling crappy too often, I replaced them with another one that's rolling a little bit better. So yeah, I guess I'm training
so
my damn
as
dice.
they sit in your bag,
Wow.
as they sit in your bag, see those numbers have fallen. You wanted to see which way they were arranged.
Yeah.
You got rid of all the ones that were arranged
Wow.
towards small numbers, and you go for the ones that are arranged towards larger numbers. Wow. Maybe you should just set them all towards larger numbers, and they'd be all set. And you could just literally, that's what he does. He takes his dice home and he sets them all up, and then there they are. And I'm like, what? Now, consistently, his numbers are a statistical anomaly and are particularly higher than the other numbers at the table. I don't know if that is on purpose or if that is, or whether that's just straight out training or what.
This training theory.
Well, and we love Rico, and all of his dice are legit.
Do.
We have tested them. We have looked at them. I've put them through some measurements of my own, and they're all standard dice. But that does lead us to the next question. Loaded dice? I don't know if you're aware of this or not, ladies and gentlemen, for those of us users at home. Chessex sells a set of loaded dice, like loaded gamer, like 8-sided, 4-sided.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They do.
So what are your thoughts? Loaded dice, would you use them?
I have used them.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very honest person. Yeah. I mean,
so like, well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the thing is, so again, going back to the beginning, I was not aware that I should have been smart enough to realize it, but that there were loaded dice. And I was in a particular campaign where it was a campaign where everyone was like cutthroats and gamblers and thieves and smugglers. And part of the allure
sounds like a fun game.
It was, and part of the allure of the game was that you were highly encouraged to use loaded dice, because I don't do math very well outside of basic math, so don't ask me the mathematics. I will try to track said person down and say, will you give me your formula? I don't know how he did it. But there was, he's a math guy, so there was like the statistics and probability of like how the loaded dice in conjunction with non-loaded dice and then mixed together and all this stuff. And like, it was just this really just crazy formulated thing. And I was like, oh. I just like the fact that I got to use dice that like gave me a better chance at getting the numbers that I wanted.
Right.
But what I have found in my experience with loaded dice is that even though the dice are weighted and they're loaded so that you are more likely to get higher numbers, the reality is that it's a little bit more complicated than that, depending on how the dice have been loaded, because some of it still relies on, believe it or not, skill. And if you
skill?
Yeah, believe it or not. If you
What?
Yeah. If you, and that's what I've figured out, was that if you're a dice thrower in general, like meaning you've learned how to like throw dice in general, you can pick up a set of weighted dice and be able to feel the weight of them and be able to tell if you're actually going to be able to cheat the system or not. Because I've seen plenty of people pick up loaded dice and go pick them right up and go, nope, drop them. Pick up another set of loaded dice and go, these are the ones that I want. Don't even shake, just flash throw, and it's like, and we've got to see a 20s. And it's like,
what?
But they're all loaded. And it's because they're not, no two loaded dice are the same. But yeah, although Chessex makes some really good loaded dice. I didn't say that, but they do. That's some of my favorite.
Wow.
They do. They make really good loaded dice. So if you're going to cheat the system, you need to go with the tried and true.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I have a pair of loaded dice, but I don't ever take them to games. Like, I have them from back when we played that game, and now it's just kind of a novelty thing. And yeah, also it's a little problematic, and also it just creates problems, because you got someone throwing loaded dice, and then you got the ST or other people that are upset, especially if it's like PvP, player versus player, in the middle of a D&D game. That's always fun. And then someone busts out some loaded dice so they could turn the tide, and then it becomes messy, and then someone calls that person a cheater. They claim they're not a cheater, and then no one's talking to one another. So yeah, I think you should use them with caution. Tread lightly.
Would you let the other players know you're using them before or after?
God, you're such a dirty bastard.
Or is that something that you should just keep to yourself?
You know what?
What's the etiquette on that, Johnny?
Well, my thing is like, again, it's about the integrity of your game and like knowing where your game is at and like who you're dealing with. And if you play with a bunch of cheaters that are known cheaters, I've walked into games where like, oh, I'm on the up and up and I'm playing, and I quickly realize everyone, including the STs, cheating. Oh, all bets are off. And like I politely bring in my loaded dice and will shake right on roll.
Right on.
Now, if I am rolling over here, Mr. Scott, and Rico and Josh and the rest of the crew, I'm not bringing no loaded dice. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna bring my boss legit dice, because at that point, like, I know that I'm playing with people who are competent players and are there to like play the best game possible and just manipulate the situation based upon how they can manipulate the rules and items in front of them to their advantage, as
Right.
opposed to
like
having
if
just an unfair advantage out the gate.
Right. Now, if you're playing LARP and you need your character sheet, you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Tabletop, I want some rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to determine on my character sheet.
Yeah.
That's why I have it right out in front of me, and that's why we're running with it.
Yeah.
Okay. I have loaded dice. I don't like them. Like you said, I am all of this, which you might not think is much, and there are people that are like, really? But I already have an unfair advantage that you do not possess. And that's okay. I don't need loaded dice on top of that. That's just unfair.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my thought. And people are like, well, what are you talking about? Well, and I go back to one of the times that, do you know Matt Fusen? Do you remember Matt Fusen?
Yeah. I actually saw him at Gen Con this year,
did you?
him and Jeanette, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, my
yeah,
God. And
that's right.
I was like, I haven't seen you since.
Yeah, then the whole group of them came up.
I was
Yeah,
like, I haven't seen
yeah.
you since I killed your venture.
Oh, yeah,
My bad.
right. That was in his game when he said, here, I have 6 of these. These are contracts for people to sell you their souls. I want you to play a Bali, which is a demon-worshipping vampire, and I want you to get these people to sell their souls to you and sign this contract in their own blood. And I went, okay. And he was like, all right, well then, that'll be, this is like 6 months of plot he had. Gave those to me at 6 p.m. I came back to him at 10:30 at night, and I told him, I need about a dozen more of those. And he went, wait, what? And I said, oh, yeah, no, these are all signed. Here you go. And I did not roll a die. I did not throw a chop. I just talked people into selling me their soul for whatever it was they needed. They made a deal with the devil, literally, because of all of this. And it was one of those. Now, mind you, some of them were outright suckers. Okay, one person sold me their soul if I would loan them level 1 bureaucracy influence for 3 months in a row. And it was like, man, you could have gotten such a better deal. But
Folks, when we get to the storyteller section about LARPing, this will make so much sense.
Right,
Just
right.
Keep this episode in your playlist at all times till we get there.
right,
And then
right. And we'll get there, and you will go,
You will understand the side that you just heard from me.
right?
And for those of you that end up watching the video and see the side eye, like, what for 3? He could
have had that for 3 XP. And instead sold his soul.
because he was cheap.
Because he was cheap.
That's what that was. He was cheap.
He was cheap.
He was
Oh,
cheap,
yeah.
and then want to spend that 3 XP because I'm saving up for for that next level of Thom or Necromancy, and I'm gonna need them 3 XP eventually. So let me hold up.
Yeah.
Cheap. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was very good.
We digress.
So loaded dice, I haven't particularly had a
Yeah.
need. They fascinate me, but I'm, and what really on the loaded dice aspect, and so for the listeners at home, use them if you will, but I don't encourage them.
Yeah.
The people that get me, that freak me out, are the ones that literally will grab a handful of dice and just go, rah, rah, rah. Oh, that one and that one. Okay, yeah, these are loaded. Wait, what? How? What? How?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Again, it goes back to
What
like I
the
said.
heck?
I know people that like they mess with dice so much that like they can tell you like, oh, this weighted dice set doesn't really matter, so you can throw it all day you want to. Like your chances of you getting high numbers is slim to none still. This one right here has girth, and I've seen the same thing too, where like they, like you said, pick up a handful of dice and go, oh, this one. You're like, how do you like?
Yeah, what is the thing?
I'm like, I throw dice and I can't do that. I'll be like, well, they feel the same to me because I got 700 dice in my hand, but
Yeah. So my Uncle Paul showed me one time that with the dice at the Flamingo Hilton, you can pick them up and you can blow on the corners and they'll spin, and that you can feel if they'll and he showed me a pair they confiscated from a guy and it blew on them, and when you blow on the casino dice, they go woo, and they'll spin between your fingers, and your fingers will stay when they'll start to. Because the balance is off.
Yeah.
It'll try to pull out of your hand. Really interesting. When you spin them up fast enough, it'll try to, it's amazing. I had no idea. I had no concept. It's really kind of neat.
Yeah. All them physics and things I can't.
Yeah, right? Seriously? So we found the dice.
We have.
We've stacked them up.
We've done some things.
We've put them in a container.
We have.
Some good containers, some bad containers, some Crown Royal containers.
Right, Crown Royal. Or my favorite that I forgot about. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Kroger bag.
What?
Yeah.
Like the plastic Kroger bag?
Plastic Kroger bag. I
wouldn't put the common dice in the plastic.
Right,
Kroger bag.
you would think that, right?
Way.
I said, wait. So, and it was double bagged, and it had like a gang of dice in it, and I was like, this. I said, so this dude.
They're not heavy.
I said, so this dude rolled up. But you know what? He was kicking ass. So once he started kicking ass, he shut me up.
If he's rolling good, then I
said,
can't. Then I cannot argue with your mode of transportation.
Well, okay. And then he politely would tie it up, and just was like, that was it. He was like, oh, I don't need Crown Royal bags. I don't need no fancy bags. I don't need my Kroger bags. Do be well. And I was like,
all right,
Brooklyn.
So let me ask you this, just as a side note before we go.
Yeah.
What about those, like, you pay $1 and you get a giant shovel of dice? I mean, I like dice and I like a number of dice, but I'm not. What about the giant, like, bin o dice? Like you buy a metric ton of dice or whatever it is, or a 20-pound bag.
You know what? I tend to. I have bought them. I will continue to buy them, but the reason why I buy them is just they're just house dice to me.
Yeah.
They're the thing that you buy. So like, oh, so and so forgot their dice. It's cool. Like, you can use that to roll whatever. But like, yeah, to me, dice, like a lot of things in gaming in general, is very. It's personal and it's unique to the person. But then there's always those things and aspects about it that can be very common and very kind of run of the mill. And to me, like the dice situation,
right,
just the trough of dice.
Yeah,
it's kind of, I equate it to like going to like Golden Corral or Ryan's. It's a buffet. It's a smorgasbord. You just go in, you kind of mindlessly.
It's not the St. Elmo's. It's not the Ruth
Yeah,
Chris,
you kind of mindlessly go in. Yeah, you just kind of mindlessly go in, eat at the trough, and then you're done.
Yep.
And that's what those are. And trough dice are, and I have to say that sometimes trough dice, you can build really great sets out of them too. Because I've experienced times where like, oh, I don't, my dice are packed away or this, that, and other, so on and so forth. And I have went into places, all right, I'm going to just take these dice here, this bag for $10, and it's a pound full of dice. And then I get home and dump it out. And I get to look in and like the color of this one. Yeah. Something about how smooth this D20 feels as opposed to the other in the bag. And you start, and before you know it, you've pieced together a dice set, and you're like, huh. And then you're like, all right. And then you get out in the gaming world and you start playing with it, and you're like, this kicks ass. And the thing too is people go, well, where did you get those dice from? It's like, oh,
the trough.
The trough. Yeah, and like and to me, like it's more special and it's unique to you. But yeah, trough dice, I'm all about it. I usually generally use them for house dice, but every now and then some gems will come out.
See, and I want to shake my head and I want to say, no, don't ever go to the trough. But I'm like you. You'll find hidden gems, and they'll be in that pound of dice. You'll find 1, 2, 5 that you're like, ooh, yeah. And micro dice, like the micro 6-sided.
I love the micro.
Do you really?
I do, because they're so. Here's the thing.
I didn't until I started playing Shadowrun, but go ahead.
And they're cute.
Okay, they're cute.
I'm a horrible gamer, people. I am a horrible.
You shouldn't announce that on the Storytellers series.
No, I'm putting it out there. But let me explain why I'm horrible. I am horrible because I am quick to become enamored by something that is so cute and so shiny, and I don't always necessarily think about the practicality. I don't think about if it's going to really benefit me in the long run. I don't think about the fact that like I've now spent like a car payment on something
right.
that is like I don't think
pure entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And so I find that dice and supplemental materials such as like map folios, 3D maps, 3D systems, the miniatures, things like that
Minis.
will get me every single time. And particularly dice that are either that are artisan craft or they're unique in like their shape and yeah, micro dice was it. Because I remember the first time I saw micro dice, I was like, what is this? I was like, $20. Like, you got me jacked up. I'm gonna take 3 boxes, please.
Right.
Like $60 later, I was like, I don't know what I've done here, Ricky, but here we go.
Yeah, but here it is.
Yeah.
Well, and when we played Shadowrun, the idea of, well, you had to roll 36 six-sided dice. And I was
Yeah.
like,
And, yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay.
Yeah, and then they
got
become
them in
practical.
one hand. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And it becomes practical, but initially sometimes you're like, really, how practical is that? I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
I love micro dice.
So yeah, it's a thing. I was like, well, they're not real dice. That's not real. That was tiny. Those little tiny. Okay, I bought into them. I mean, I have to say, I'm with micro dice.
Yeah.
I can't. Dice are dice.
Yeah.
That's a thing. And it's like, wow, bless America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's that weird paradox of like dice, you know.
So I have to get on this one before we leave too. So when I said dice, like, hey, let's have an hour-long conversation about dice. You were like, hours about an hour about dice.
I admit it.
Right. I know you were, and I think we're at
some change.
right. Yeah, we are.
We're at some change.
We're at some change. So okay,
We'll be edited for television, but we're some change.
I didn't know if you knew that you would get this distance out of dice. What the hell are you going to say about dice?
I think the thing about dice is it seems like a very innocuous thing. Like it just seems so like just
it's always there.
Yeah, it's always there. And so like, oh well, you need dice, so duh. Like what? But the reality is, like a lot of things, you don't really think about. You don't really sit down and analyze how important this minuscule thing is to you until
something you use every time.
Until someone actually says, well, how important is that to you? You know, it's kind of like if someone said, well, you know, you're used to having a refrigerator. Like, what if that was gone tomorrow? Like, how important is that? It's like you don't think about how important it is until.
So we're at the table. Actionable advice.
Yeah.
First step, be prepared. Bring your dice.
All right.
Okay. Second step, that buddy of yours wasn't prepared. You brought your favorite set of dice with you. You let him borrow them?
That to me is like people that come up to me and go, "Can I touch your hair?" You will draw back a nub.
So can I touch your hair? No.
Yeah, I mean you
okay.
can. If you,
No,
I mean
no,
you asked
no.
nicely. I mean,
right, but
I mean you already moved the furniture. Why not?
right.
You know?
Might as well. We
just
all
touch
know.
that. But yeah, like
I know. No.
Yeah, like I mean, favorite dice. That's why I always have just run of the mill general house dice with me at all times. You can use these.
So
yeah,
if
you lose them,
if
you get your bad,
if they roll down
on
somebody
them,
thing and go into the register and they go down into the furnace thing, I don't know. That dice is gone.
Yeah, I don't care. But my micro dice, my gold plated dice, my my pearl dice, my Chesek dice, the very first one I ever bought at that one gaming store that shall not be mentioned.
Was it in Broad Ripple?
No.
Okay, good. It was the other one. Okay,
no,
all right, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We won't talk about them. So.
But like the first one where I was like, oh, these are, they're pretty and they're purple and they look like the cosmos. And I was like, I have to have these. And I was like, and I mean, like literally would baby them, like, I damn near, like.
So what you're saying is your level of be prepared means be prepared for that one jackwagon that didn't bring his own. So you better have some generics that you can let them borrow.
Yep.
There's our piece of actionable advice.
Yeah.
We will be putting links up for the dice vault, for the different
yeah.
places to buy dice, for the different places to buy bags, for a place to get the Crown
Royal
bags.
Yeah.
We'll have several dice links in our thing with our actionable items, but be prepared. Have your dice, and between you, me, and the door, you want to have a set that you have trained/screened for really, really good numbers.
Yeah.
And you want to have a pair or a set that you have trained/screened for really, really bad numbers.
Yeah.
Because there are times that even the ST will go, I didn't bring my dice. And we all went over to Bob's house. You guys, anybody have dice that I can use? Yeah, here, use these. And they'll put them in front of you and they roll horribly. And that's just how it's going to go for the evening. And that's okay.
Yeah. And you're like, it's all right.
So you're like, why would you want to keep bad dice around? To give to your
to
give your DM for when he's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
All right, so any closing thoughts, any last thoughts on dice in general? I liked your statement about you don't know how good you got them until somebody asked you, what if your refrigerator was gone? That was nice.
Yeah. Nice. Dice are fun. Just remember that, it's more than just a piece of iconography. It's not this innocuous thing. It's really important. And nothing else. Respect the dice. Respect people and their dice. Do not. You don't just go use. You
go up and grab somebody else's dice and start rolling them.
Yeah, it's about consent.
You're gonna get murdered. Yeah,
right,
it's about consent.
It's about consent.
It is about consent.
And if they say no, you need to respect the no. Don't
even if they're shiny.
Right. I've had people run up to me. Well, why can't I? If you don't step back, you like I'm a chin check you for real.
Right.
Like. Back up off the dice. Don't hover over me. Don't put your breath on my dice. Like, especially if they got bad breath.
That's a personal space thing.
Yeah, and
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm like, no. So yeah, like respect the people. Respect the dice. Respect the power of the dice, and treat them as lovingly as you want to be treated by them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Because my closing thoughts on the dice are what inject the random chance into the games in which we play.
Indeed.
Because we all want to play escapism, we all want to be the hero, but if it's a guaranteed thing, then it's never fun.
No.
Like if you're like, all right, well, I go out to vanquish the foe. Okay, you vanquish him. Now what?
Yeah.
Wait, no, that wasn't the challenge. Like that, I want it. That the roll of the dice is what sets that apart.
Yeah.
Okay. Respect your dice. Dear God, respect someone else's dice, and remember, it's about consent.
It is.
Okay. Because I saw that whole thing of dice sitting there, and I did not touch a single one of them because I was like, whose dice are those, and why are they in like the corn cob of shame? Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. But I didn't know. I wasn't gonna be like, hey, look, I'm gonna run my finger through someone else's dice. That's like a murderable offense in some places.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. So consent is a big thing with
is.
dice. And we didn't touch on that probably as much as we should have, but consent is a thing.
Yeah.
So make sure we all live in a consensual world. Get consent. That's the answer.
You ask, and if they say no, you respect that, and you move on.
And you ask them, and if you really covet their dice, because that's the thing too, then ask them where they got them.
Yeah.
And get your own set.
Yeah.
Because I'll guarantee you, if you don't ever see that person again, or even if you do, and you have the set of dice, flattery is the best form of
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so then from there, if you've got any questions, if you need anything, that's okay. I'm here with Johnny.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again.
Yeah, we're still here.
And this is Gaming with Scott, and I'm just drawing it out now. We're going to edit a whole bunch of this out. No, I'm just kidding. This is Gaming with Scott, the Storyteller series, and as always, you'll hear from us real soon. Bye.
Later.